All right, we ready?
Ready.
All right, here with Stacy Lewis. I don't know what hat you're wearing this week. KPMG, Solheim Cup, LPGA Tour, Mom,
Yep.
all of the above. Welcome to KPMG Women's PGA Championship Week. How are you feeling as you set foot on Congressional and get ready for another major?
A little worn out, more worn out than I'd like to be. Definitely wearing a lot of hats, got a lot going on in my head and on my phone. But man, Congressional, just walking on property, this place is awesome. The golf course is amazing. The whole setup this week for us as players is amazing. So I'm excited. You know, looking forward to getting all this stuff done ahead of time and playing some golf on Thursday.
Have you seen all of the golf course yet?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this major test?
I mean, it's awesome. I love the look of it first, I guess, you know, just looking out and seeing the whole golf course. But the setup's really good. You got a really good mix of holes, short par fours, short par threes, long par fours. You got par fives that, you know, they can move some tees around and make reachable and make some really good holes out of them. So, you know, I think we're going to see a lot of variety. But, you know, truly, I don't think it fits one specific type of player. I think you got to have everything. You have every club in the bag is going to be tested, and you have to be great around the greens, great short game. So, best player is truly going to win this week.
And that best player is going to be well rewarded. The
Yes.
whole field well rewarded, thanks to the news of the $9 million purse, $1.35 million for the winner.
Yep.
I was in the dining room and kind of heard some people talking. It was really cool. What was it like for you? I mean, you clearly were aware of what was going on, but just to see this opportunity, take away the fact that you're KPMG ambassador, this is an amazing opportunity for any company to support the LPGA.
It is. I mean, you know, a couple girls already said to me how amazing it is. And, you know, I did know it was coming. I didn't know it was going to be quite this big. I knew it was going to be big, but not quite this big. And it's amazing. I mean, I don't know how many times you can say it. You know, KPMG from the start, you know, they raised the bar when they came on board for this championship. It pushed the USGA, it pushed the RNA to step up, and they're doing it again. And I don't think they're done, is my guess. You know, I think they've always had ideas that have been far ahead of everybody else. And so I think there's more coming. I think, you know, they're in this for the long haul. You know, we've got some great courses announced for the next 4 or 5, I guess, now. So, you know, this championship is in a great spot, and they've elevated women's golf, and they're going to continue to do it.
And then one last question for me before we open. 4 questions, putting on the other hat, the Solheim Cup captain hat.
Yeah.
I would think this would also be a good opportunity for you to really see well-rounded challenges for your potential players' games, perhaps.
For sure. You know, the one thing I've noticed so far is, you know, we play on a lot of different styles of golf courses, so it's figuring out who plays well on certain styles of golf courses and how that's going to fit to the Spain golf course. You know, so I think it's important for me to, you know, to see how different players play on tests like this versus a Meyer last week, or even the U.S. Open venue at Pine Needles is completely different than this. So it'll be good for me. And we had our first little get-together last night. I got about 20 players together for dinner last night and just got everybody together and talked about a few things. And, you know, everybody's excited with what we're working on.
Where'd you guys go?
Leah's in Bethesda.
Recommendations?
Yes, it was very good.
All right, thank you, Leah. We'll open it up for questions. Let me know on the Zoom if you have any. We're going to start over here with Jeff and then go to Steve.
Do you consider yourself a pretty organized person, and what's the biggest challenge of juggling all?
I'm a very organized person. I've been that way for a long time. I'm a list maker. I have a calendar that I write everything down in. The biggest challenge is just being where you are. You know, I'll catch myself at times when I'm practicing, you know, checking my phone or something like that, and you know, just trying to put one hat on at a time and do that. But you know, it's kind of me by nature. I mean, I'm an organized person, so it kind of fits in, I guess.
And with the golf hat on, it looked like you saw some nice things in the bookend rounds last week. What have you been waiting to see in your own game, and what maybe did you see last week that you can build on?
Well, I've been working on the golf swing for the last couple weeks, and actually worked with Mizuno and got some new shafts for my irons that I think is going to help a lot, that I've been testing out the last couple of days that have felt really good. So just to allow me to hit a few more shots, and you know, kind of figured out I was kind of playing for a miss instead of just going out there and hitting golf shots. So if I can get that ironed out, you know, I feel like I'm trending in the right direction.
Steve?
Stacy, you were out here in darker days when we didn't have big purses and we didn't play that great of golf courses. Played one event with no purse.
Right.
How do you put into perspective where we are now?
I mean, I think back to we had 2011. I think we had 23 events, and almost half of those were outside of the United States. This current group of players, I don't think they quite realize how lucky we are with the opportunities that we have. I mean, they have come to expect them over the last 4 or 5 years that, this setup this week is normal, and this is, in our history of the LPGA, this is far from normal. So, it's getting those players to understand how lucky we are and how, we have to keep working. We have to keep building on this and making sure we're thinking the right people and doing the right things to continue to raise the bar.
And how do you communicate that to those younger players?
Saying it and making sure they hear it, over and over and over again. It's, you just got to keep putting it out there and getting your veteran players to say that and to realize it. I think it means a lot more coming from your peers than even a commissioner or somebody on tour coming and telling you. I think, your peers telling you how things used to be and how lucky we are, it means a lot more.
Behind me to Jean and then to Garrett.
Yep. Stacey, you mentioned the U.S. Women's Open. If you look at the top of that leaderboard, obviously a lot of different countries represented, just like the World Golf Rankings. Just from an American perspective, where would you say the state of the game is? And do you foresee a time where, the American women can dominate this sport the way they do basketball or soccer or other international sports?
The way our tour is, I don't see any country dominating. And you see that in our leaderboards. You see that in our world rankings. The Americans themselves, we're trending in a great direction. You've got some young players that have been, Mina playing really well at the U.S. Open. Lilia Vu's been playing some awesome golf to start this year. Andrea Lee had no status, and she's been working her way slowly up the rankings. So, I think we're in a great spot. And kind of bookend that with your Nelly and your Lexi and getting Danielle healthy. I think American golf is in a good spot. It's just different faces than everybody's used to, and that's just the natural progression of it. There's always going to be changes. There's always going to be changing, kind of rolling over of players. But this new guard coming up is really good, and got some new names for people to learn.
So, I wanted to ask you about Lexi too, as follow up. Just her as an ambassador for the game, just how much she's kind of brings eyeballs to the tournaments and to TV.
Yeah, Lexi's, she doesn't need a last name, right? She's the one person out here that probably doesn't need a last name. Everybody knows who she is, and, the way she plays and her ability to hit the golf ball in itself is so impressive. And you just watch her walk around and the way she treats the fans and the little kids. It's something that I think a lot of young players could learn a lot from.
Over to Garrett and then back to Beth Ann.
Hey, Stacy, was this your first time playing Congressional, or how many times have you played it?
This is my first time on site. I played 9 holes yesterday and 18 today, and I'll get 9 more in tomorrow.
Yeah, you mentioned loving the variety of this course. What about as it relates to approach shots, and particularly some of the blind approach shots out here? I think there's about 7 or 8.
Yeah, there's a couple long par 4s. I think it's 15. Very difficult hole. I think that hole is going to play pretty tough as the week goes on. It's just the slopes in the fairways, keeping the ball in the fairways, keeping the ball on the greens, the slopes on the greens. There's a lot of different challenges. It's not just one thing. You're going to have uneven lies in the fairways to, your tee shots, shaping them the right way to keep them in the fairways. And then once you get up to the greens, you got all these slopes that you got to be on the right side of. So there's a lot of challenges that, you got to pick up on as much as you can in 2 rounds, basically.
Is there one shot that seems like it's the hardest shot out there?
I don't know yet. Anything coming up 18 with a chance to win is a hard shot.
Thanks.
Oh, Beth Ann?
Yep.
So there's been a lot of talk about money lately in golf in general, especially on the men's side. And, given that there's so many question marks about what's coming, how crucial do you think the timing of today's announcement is in terms of the money on the women's side?
Obviously it coincides with the championship, but I mean, just all of our majors and the way they've stepped up. It's been pretty amazing to see what the USGA has done. Now here, the RNA kind of started it last year. They stepped up big. I think Evian's even put some more money in their purse. So, Chevron's kind of coming in the back end and kind of coming in a little bit late to the party, and I bet they're going to get up to this level too at some point. So, it's huge for us. I think as players, these girls are really great, and getting on network TV, getting to play these golf courses. Not to say that you deserve it, but it's if we can get on par with the guys or closer, keep narrowing that gap, then we're doing the right things, and just giving them the opportunity to be great athletes and get paid for it.
Thanks.
Anything further for Stacy over there? We just had Mariah Stackhausen as well announcing she was joining you as an LPGA USGA Girls Golf Ambassador. I know you've got Chesney running around. We see all the little kids running around. How cool is that to now have Mariah on the team and what you guys are doing at Girls Golf and touching so many lives as you grow the game?
Yeah, I mean, our numbers at Girls Golf have grown exponentially the last, 5 to 10 years since we've really give Mike Wan some credit there for the investment he really made in that, and the number of girls that are playing. I mean, last week at Meyer, I mean, the number of little kids I saw out there was amazing, and especially it was pretty cool on Sunday to see all the little girls and their dads running around. So, just having a kid of my own, you want these little girls to have the opportunities, and that's what Girls Golf does, and anything I can do to help that.
There's one last question I want to ask before we close, and it's actually, again, looking back to a year ago, it was right about now that we rolled out the stats program, the KPMG Performance Insights. I know we've now got them on our media boards. We're rolling them into places as you pull out the Solheim Cup. How have those helped you and your fellow players really be able to hone in on some of the better and points of your game that maybe need to be improved?
Yeah, I mean, it's been tremendous, just to you always have an idea of how you're playing, but just to really put numbers to it, I think it's been great for the telecast, for our fans to, really see, these players have been trending and playing really well. So it's no surprise when they do win, right? I mean, the results are coinciding with it. So, but typical KPMG fashion, they want to know how we can do it better and continue to get more stats and more information out there, not just for us, but for, how to make this tour better and how as players we can be better.
Awesome. Anything further? All right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Although you don't start tomorrow because I keep thinking today.